And I am going to turn it over to Quan Wilson, who will be our facilitator for tonight.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We are so glad you could join us today for our special education Welcome Back to School meeting, Partnering for Success in 2025-2026. My name is Quan Wilson, and I have the honor of guiding us through today's presentation. This session is designed to help strengthen the partnership between families and our schools as we begin a brand new school year grounded in collaboration, communication, and commitment to the success of every student. This meeting is especially important because we know that family partnership is essential in supporting the learning, growth, and well-being of our students receiving special education services. Today, we've brought together a dynamic team of leaders from across our district who are here to support you, provide valuable updates, and answer your questions as we head into the new school year. Before we begin, let me take a moment to introduce our presenters. We'll begin today's meeting with a warm welcome from our interim superintendent, Dr. Sean Joseph. After Dr. Joseph, we will hear from our associate superintendent, Ms. Trinell Bowman, who will share some highlights and tips for the school year ahead. Following Ms. Bowman, we will hear from Dr. Sheila Jackson, Director of Family and Community Partnerships, who will speak to the importance of our family-school partnerships and supporting you and your child in preparing for the opening of the school year. We are also joined by Dr. Beth Hare, instructional specialist from the Department of Special Education's Family Support Center, who will provide insight into the support and resources available for our families of students with disabilities. Next, we'll hear from our transportation team, Mr. Kiba Baldwin, Director of Transportation, and Ms. Alumnish Allen and Mr. Brian Makel, our transportation coordinators for special education, will provide key updates and tips to ensure smooth and safe transportation for your child. Following our transportation team, we're pleased to welcome Ms. Tracy Jones, Supervisor for the Office of School Health, who will share important information regarding health services and preparing for the first day of school. And finally, joining us this evening is Mrs. Janie Payne, the Special Education Advisory Committee Chair. She will provide you with an overview of the CCAC partnership with the Department of Special Education, as well as the meeting schedule and agenda topics for the upcoming school year. We encourage you to listen, ask questions, and most importantly, know that you're not alone. Our entire team is here to partner with you every step of the way. Let's get started by welcoming Ms. Trinell Bowman to bring opening greetings and share a few words to launch our new school year together.
I'm sorry to interrupt our interpreter setup, or I don't understand.
I'm working on the interpreter setup right now, so give me just a few minutes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Ms. Wilson, for that introduction. I'm going to yield now to our interim superintendent, Dr. Sean Joseph, to bring us greetings and welcome remarks.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's exciting for me to be here and to welcome you to the 2025-2026 school year. We've been really working hard this summer to try to help get things right. And I'm going to share my screen if I can and just kind of go over a few things. But, I tell you, it has been a journey for me. And as we've come back into Prince George's County. On the very first day, Dr. Bowman, who I think is absolutely amazing, and I, talked about, where we are with special education and the fact that it's essential and for certain will prioritize special education as we move through this year and really strive to partner with you, because we can't improve outcomes for your children without being in true partnership and talking about what actual partnership means. And just know that from the school system standpoint, we're committed, to doing so. I've been in education now for 30 years, and I got into education because I met a student when I was a student at Lincoln University who couldn't read. And I just didn't understand how in this country we put people on the moon and not teach children how to read. And it's the civil right that we must ensure all students receive as they're in Prince George's County Public Schools. And so, as we're working, I've reminded our staff that, we are the superheroes that our students deserve, that we need to come in and bring our best every single day for your children, because we know that your children have greatness within them, and great teachers pull that greatness out of them, working with families in collaboration to both understand your children's needs and to be relentless about inspiring them to just be their best. And that means, we've got to put extraordinary people in front of them and make sure that their needs are being met. But I'm honored to be collaborating with CCAC this year. I had an opportunity to meet with Dr. Bowman and the leadership from CCAC this week. And we talked about all of the things that we want to do in partnership. And, we are serious when we say partnership. And like I said, we'll show you how serious we are as we move through the year, and you see us responding to your feedback. So I'm thankful to have so many people on this call, but knowing that we've got thousands more that we have to continue to keep engaged in this work, and know that we're committed to doing it. Just some of the things that we're going to do this year as we think about our special needs and for all of our students. We're going to be monitoring closely actual performance. And as I've identified big rocks after speaking to over 1,000 community members over the course of the past 30 some odd days, and now doing the in-person sessions, the very first thing I said we must address is our special education and multilingual learners. In addition to ensuring that we're moving in mathematics and literacy, addressing chronic absenteeism, expanding on internships and dual enrollment, and focusing on organizational culture. But our goal, and what you'll see kicking off this year, are schools with a sense of urgency, working closely with you, communicating with you, and making sure that your students' needs are met. But I can tell you, we're excited, we're fired up, and we are ready to go. So, Dr. Bowman, I thank you for all the work that you and your team are doing. But to everybody on this call, I think the full Prince George's County executive team and all of our principals, they're clear. Our charge is to do right by all of our children, specifically our special needs children, as we move into this school year. It will be a school district collective effort, and you have my commitment on that. So I'll turn it back over to Dr. Bowman to continue.
Thank you so much. I did notice that we had a couple of our board members join, and I just wanted to give them an opportunity if they would like to bring any remarks. I believe we have Ms. Amy Olivo with us, as well as board member Pamela Boozer-Schroeder. So I just wanted to give you all an opportunity if you would like to bring greetings.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ms. Bowman. I'm so glad to be here this evening. My name is Amy Olivo. I'm the Board of Education member representing District 4. I'm a proud PGCPS parent and the proud parent of a twice exceptional graduate from Prince George's County Public Schools. My older son was identified both as talented and gifted, and also with some learning disabilities that challenged him throughout the school year. So I'm very familiar with special education in Prince George's County Public Schools, and I'm just thrilled to be here this evening. Thank you.
All right, well, I'll continue. So thanks again for our Board of Education members and all they do to support special education. We appreciate your partnership in our district. So we want to just give you some highlights for special education for this school year. Some of the information will be new and some of the information will not be new and is continuing from last school year. So the first thing that we wanted to share with you is we launched a resource guide for parents and families, and we have had overwhelming great feedback from you all regarding the family support toolkit that was developed. In the toolkit, it gives you a comprehensive guide of everything that you need to know around timelines, resources, both in the community as well as in our school district, who you can contact for questions, understanding your rights as parents, etc. The other thing I want you to know, if you are a new parent of a child with a disability, where your child has recently been identified, one of the things that we do for all new parents, we know that special education and navigating special education can be very complex and challenging. So one of the things that we do for all of our new families that are identified, their children are going through the process and have been found eligible for an individualized education program, is we extend a welcome packet to you so that we can give you the information around understanding the IEP, how do we resolve disagreements, planning, thinking about the end in mind when your child exits and leaves Prince George's County Public Schools. And we do invite you in for a workshop. There's a letter that's generated that is sent to all new families where children have been identified. So we wanted to make sure that you're aware of that. The other thing that we wanted to share is that we're continuing this school year with our parent survey. And those are, I think we may need to mute. Thank you.
Hold on 1 minute.
So we're continuing this school year with our parent survey. We want to thank all of our families who participated in the survey last year. It was great information that we were able to gather. When we pulled our data as of June 18th, the end of school year, our overall rating was a 4.4 out of a 5.0 scale. For those schools that did not have high remarks on the parent survey, we are partnering with our resolution specialist and Dr. Sheila Jackson shop to really provide targeted family engagement training and technical assistance to those schools. So we are in the process of analyzing that data and determining what schools really need target assistance around parent engagement to increase their survey results for the IEP parent survey. The other thing that we are so excited about, and we appreciate Dr. Joseph's support in making sure that this happens, is that we are launching a meet and greet for all of our special education families for within the first 4 weeks of school. You heard Ms. Wilson, you've heard Dr. Joseph, and you also heard our board member talk about the importance of family engagement. We want to give you an opportunity as families and parents of students and children with disabilities in our district to really build strong collaborative partnerships at our school. And so we believe that you need some personalized attention, just again, looking at some of the survey data that we have received, as well as the town hall meetings that we held last year. One of the big pieces that you noted is the opportunity to really engage with schools, be communicative, and be a partner. And so we're so excited that all of our schools will be hosting a meet and greet for our special ed families within the first 4 weeks of school. You'll be getting more information from your specific schools regarding the date of your meet and greet. The other thing that we did, we appreciate all of the questions that we received through our town hall meetings last year. As you know, we had 5 town hall meetings. We gathered over 125 questions as a result of those town halls. And what we have done is compiled all of those FAQs into one resource document that is going to be released on our website. We have provided the link here for you. The other thing that we did just to help ease with the questions is we've organized them by topic. Things like the IEP process. How do you resolve disagreements? What resources are available to me? So you'll see that when you are able to select the link. I know that Marcy, as we proceed through tonight, she'll put that link into the chat so that you can have quick access to that this evening. But again, that's something that you requested, that we compile that information into one document. So we have done that for you. The other thing that we want to share with you is we partnered last year with our Office of Diversity, Equity, and Belonging. And we were so inspired by the feedback that we got from our staff, from our parents, and even from our students, that we have decided as a district that we will continue to focus on special ed as our equity group for year 2. So for the 25-26 school year, we're going to continue to identify, honor, and nurture the unique brilliance of our students. This past summer, we had an Equity Summer Learning Series. We were so excited. On July 9th, we had over 100 parents join us to really talk about parent engagement, look at some survey data, really get some recommendations. We're so excited. We looked at some of that data in the last week, and that will be data that will be publicized on our website so that you can see some of the feedback that we were able to get from families around the work that we're doing. On September 23rd, we're so excited. We will have a mandatory school-based staff for all staff. So from our cafeteria workers to our bus drivers, to our principals, to our central office leaders, we will have a systemic professional learning opportunity that really will look at equity and special education, as well as focusing on preventing bullying and empowering bystanders. And then once we finish that mandatory training for all staff, there will be some school-based office and next steps that we will continue to monitor. And we will also be doing case studies like we did last year, and then sharing that information with our various stakeholders. On the next slide, it gives you the area again of focus. We're continuing with cultivating positive family engagement with our parents. We're expecting all schools to continue to do that. We're also working to develop, implement, and monitor accommodations and interventions. We'll be continuing that for year 2 of our equity focus. And then we're asking our schools and our district office to really promote inclusive practices. And so that will be our 3 areas of focus this year for our equity series. Now, I just wanted to share a couple of tips for you as you prepare for the school year. I know that you are busy. We have less than 2 weeks to go, and I'm sure there is a lot of excitement in your homes to get ready, especially for those of you who have students that are transitioning into those terminal years where they're going into kindergarten or 6th grade or even high school. So I know there's a lot of questions, and so we have just worked to really give you some tips and think abouts as you prepare for the school year. So again, this slide just gives you some helpful tips. Again, you'll have that meet and greet, so you'll get an opportunity to actually meet your children's case manager at the school. We always encourage families to put together some type of organizational system. There's going to be a lot of information coming to you, a lot of paperwork that will be coming to you, progress reports, communication logs. Really help yourself and organize yourself into an IEP with a binder or folder. If your child needs help with transitions, we have hyperlinked 2 social stories at the elementary and secondary level, just to help you coach your child on what it means about starting the school year, particularly for our children with autism or students who may have difficulty with transitioning. So we have provided you with an elementary version and a secondary version of that social story. The other thing we want to empower and make sure you're aware, and we'll be training and doing trainings throughout the year for you, but it's so important for you to understand what's in your child's IEP. What are those goals? What are those accommodations? We encourage you at any time, if you have questions, to reach out to your child's case manager or even our guidance counselor if you notice that your child is struggling in any new grade or adjusting to a new teacher. We also encourage you to maintain regular communication. We expect our teachers to do that with you. But again, if there's any concerns or any issues, we don't want you to linger. Please address them with the school. The other thing that you'll hear from our principals as school starts is making sure that we have the most up-to-date information for you with your contact information. Who's your emergency contact? Please make sure you update that information. For For our preschool students and kindergarten students, and particularly any student that is nonverbal, we want to make sure that you label all of their materials, their book bag. If you bring in an extra pair of clothing, is important on the first day of school to place a sticker or shirt so that our bus drivers and school staff know who your child is. And then help your child establish any type of routines or schedules to help them get organized. If you have to put post-it notes around your school, if you need to, excuse me, around your house, if you need to do a visual schedule, anything that's important for your child to be able to be successful and get ready for the first day of school is just important. And our Family Support Center has a lot of resources and tips and routines and visual schedules that they can share with you. And now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Jackson, who's going to give some updates.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Bowman. It is my pleasure to be here with everyone, to thank you, first of all, for being here and just joining us in this effort to make sure that your families know how fully supportive we are for you, regardless of our offices in Prince George's County Public Schools. So I'm the director of our Department of Family and Community Partnerships that serves all of the families in Prince George's County. However, we work in deep partnership with our Department of Special Education. We actually share the same building at John Carroll Elementary. And it is a pleasure to let you know as families that we are all here for you. We all are designed in our work to make sure that we serve all of you and the needs of your students as well. So that's just a quick overview of what our small and mighty department does. But the biggest thing that we do is work in partnership with our other offices that serve families. And so it is important for us in Prince George's County to make sure that all of our families, whatever their background is, whatever their needs are, can find support, can find those who are working in the vineyard to best serve them and their children. So our next slide. We just want to share with you just briefly that there are so many resources available on Prince George's County Public Schools website. We have a back to schools guide that is actually there. And we invite you to please click on that and look at all of the things that we are providing for parents and families to start the school year off to the best of your ability. One of the big highlights I just want to point out is happening this Saturday. So after you've had so much input and support tonight, please join us on Saturday at the Wayne K. Curry Sports and Learning Complex right on Bright Seat Road. It's going to be an all-day event providing free resources and supports and information to all families and students. So we invite you to join us because that is an event that sets off so many opportunities. There will be so many, I think we're up to 50 supporters, exhibitors, vendors who will be there with information and free resources to support all of our families. And of course, special education will have a site there as well. So we invite you to join us for that. We also have happening right now our interim superintendent meeting in person in Board of Education districts. And in those meetings, he shares information. Your board member will be there, but then they spend the majority of the time talking with you. You have an opportunity to speak with leaders in person, to raise your questions, to ask for help about any concerns that you may have. And as you can see, our agenda, every district will have its own meeting. The next one, August 29th, or for schools in District 6. And we hope that you will join us at Largo High School for that event. Those events are from 6 to 7:30 p.m. in the evenings, and you will find out so much about our partnerships with you. What can we do to better support families and to help you help your children find success in Prince George's. So thank you so very much. And I'm happy to be here with you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Beth Hare, and I'm with the Family Support Center. So the mission of the Family Support Center is to work with families to ensure that they feel and are treated as equal partners on their IEP team. And some of the ways that we do that is to share with families information about their child's disability. We try to provide them with resources in the community that will support their children. We also work with families if they have issues that they're trying to resolve with their child's IEP team. And we also connect them to community partners that also have resources to support their children and family. How do we do it? We offer workshops. We have support groups. One of our longest running support groups right now is currently on challenging behaviors, where we use principles of applied behavior analysis to reduce those challenging behaviors and increase alternate skills. We provide consultations for families. If the family is new to special ed, we invite them to come in and sit down and go through their child's IEP with us. And we share information on general information regarding IEPs, but also information that's specific to their child. We also have a number of conferences that we offer throughout the school year. One that's coming up pretty soon is our fall mini conference, where we'll have speakers that will provide information on a variety of disability related topics. And we also have a newsletter that we disseminate electronically to all families who are a part of our listserv. So we have a variety of ways that we try to share information with families. We know that it's not always possible for families to come out and participate in our activities or join us virtually for our activities. So we record most of those presentations, and we have a YouTube channel that is available for families to access. Families can subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see our catalog of resources, workshops that we've done over the past. We also reach out to families via social media. We have a Twitter account, and we also put out, sorry, not Twitter anymore, X account. And we also share information via Instagram. If you would like to learn more about what we do at the Family Support Center or access some of the resources that we have, we invite you to scan the QR code and sign up for our listserv. We provide you with information that is directly related to our district, but we also share information from our community partners, such as the ARC, Parents Place of Maryland, Pathfinders for Autism. So I think Marcy dropped the link in, but there's also a QR code that you can access if you would like to receive information from our office. We also provide information on our calendar of events through our listserv. So in general, there's also a district-wide parent page. Marcy's gonna quickly link to that page to show you some of the resources that are available. The district has put together a very comprehensive page for parents where you can go and access information on how to register your child, how to use Parent View. There's also information that is grade level specific. Grade level resources are available. Information on student support, mental health, technology help, you name it, it's there. There's also a page, a card for special education. If you click that card, it will link you directly to all of the resources that are specific to our families of students with disabilities. In addition, the county's website page also provides a host of information on instructional supports and opportunities. If you go to the webpage and you click at the top, academics, you scroll down to special programs and support. And then there's a card that says tutoring. You will see access to a variety of resources, one being the public library that provides tutoring free of charge for families, as well as Peer Deck and access to math tutoring. And finally, if you would like to reach us, we are located in the John Carroll Building. We welcome walk-ins. We take a lot of phone calls, so we welcome your calls. There are currently 4 people in our office. One will be starting on Monday, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. We are excited to be here. My name is Kiba Baldwin, and I am the Transportation Director for our school system. And I have with me 2 vital members of my team, Ms. Alumnus Allen and Mr. Brian Makel. We're glad to be here today to provide an update on our transportation department work in supporting students with special education needs. This is an area where we focus on safety, consistency, and collaborations with our families and our schools. Our goal today is to be able to share some important reminders for the start of the school year and introduce some transportation tools and resources for you. So let's begin with what families need to know. So right now, we are in a big push for families to be enrolled by August 15th. August 15th is the day that we need all of our families enrolled at their schools. Transportation will set bus assignments for the first day of school. So if your child is enrolled by tomorrow, they will have a bus stop assignment for the first day of school. Now, a little disclaimer, this does not apply to students continuing at the same school with the same address when they attended school last year, the 24-25 school year. Okay. Our bus assignments will be available beginning Monday, August 18th. All assignments will be found in Parent View. So that's why we're really asking our families to activate their Parent View account so that they can see transportation assignments. If we make it through the process of the school year, of opening school between the 18th and the 26th, and there's no stop assignment in Parent View, we offer InfoFinder. If it's not an InfoFinder, then we are encouraging our families to use our transportation resolution system to let us know so that we can begin troubleshooting why you don't have a bus assignment, and we will work to get you one as soon as possible. If you need to contact our office, the number there is 301-952-6570. Right? Next slide. This is a snapshot of our InfoFinder system. This system allows us to enter all of our bus stops without any student assignment. And so as it relates to our mainstream population, you can put in your address, your school grade, and it will populate the nearest bus stops. So we invite our families that for any reason you run into trouble and you do not see a transportation assignment by the first day of school, this is a great alternative for you to utilize to get to your school. Our team will allow our students on the bus if you're at that bus stop. And so these are valid bus stops that we have. They will have a time range that you can utilize until a permanent assignment is issued. So we hope that you will not have to use this, but it is a great alternative to find a stop if you're not seeing your stop in Parent View. All right. And now I am going to pass the torch to my colleague, Ms. Allen.
Good evening, everyone. So as mentioned, beginning the week of August 18th, the bus information will be showing up in Parent View. Families of enrolled students will also receive postcards in the mail with resources to locate the transportation information. Please note that the Department of Transportation is unable to make any changes to the addresses and pickup and drop off from parents over the phone, via email, or through the TRS. All changes and confirmation of address locations must be confirmed within the Synergy database by the school registrar. So that goes with saying, if you have not made the cutoff date for enrollment of August 15th, please note that if you've registered after August 15th, after tomorrow, students are not guaranteed a bus stop for the first day of school. However, you can utilize InfoFinder, as Director Baldwin indicated. Please do not submit a TRS ticket if you know that you enrolled after August 15th, because it is likely that it is still processing in the system. The first effective date is the first day of school, August 26th, and then the next effective date will be September 4th. Please also note that if you previously opted out for bus service last school year, the same selection will be continued and has rolled over. However, if you've been assigned a bus and you don't intend to use it and you would like to opt out of transportation services this year, please make sure to inform your school registrar so that it can be updated. With InfoFinder, it will be updated every Friday, so you can check for bus stop information each week. The Stop Finder app will continue to be used this year along with other technology options that are being piloted. To access Stop Finder, if you've had it last year, please just make sure that your email address is updated in Parent View. You will look for an invitation from the PGCPS email to download the app from the App Store or Google Play. Invitations will be sent out weekly starting the week of August 18th. You may have heard more information about a new bus app coming this school year. This fall, we are going to be piloting a new app called Chipmunk with some families of students with specialized transportation needs. A broader rollout will continue to be followed later this year. Chipmunk will offer real-time bus tracking and estimated time of arrival alerts and better accuracy to reduce uncertainty. Marcy, if you could click on the link for Chipmunk, parents will be able to visit the website to find out more information there about the rollout and how that will be implemented for this school year. Next slide. And so I'm going to pass it to Mr. Maple.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Through our Parent View portal, not only will you be able to access your students' information in regards to their attendance and report card, but it's imperative that all of our parents register for Parent View, because once registered for Parent View, you will receive an invitation for the Stop Finder app. And that Stop Finder app will allow you to be able to track your student on the bus in real time. Once you've received the invitation, again, make sure your email is updated in Parent View. And once you're into that app in Parent View, just click on Student Info, then scroll to the bottom. If you've forgotten or haven't received your child's bus information, that bus information, pickup and drop off times and locations will also be accessible through Parent View. Also, in the event you need assistance, in terms of related to transportation, we have a transportation call center. The hours of our transportation call center are from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. In the event it's after hours, you can always reach out to school security at 301-499-7000. And if you have an issue that needs some type of resolution, you can also utilize our transportation resolution system. Now, one thing that we all ask is please allow a little bit of grace and mercy as the school opened during the first weeks of school. A lot of employees have returned back to work, so traffic conditions have changed and gotten much heavier. We're going to have a lot of first-time bus riders, and a lot of our drivers will have to get used to their new routes and routines. So sometimes there might be some delays in terms of pickup and delays in terms of drop off. But it still will be imperative with the use of Stop Finder, you'll be able to know exactly where your child is at all times when on the bus. So just please allow us a little grace. And if you have any other questions, you can always visit our transportation FAQ page. Thank you.
Here are some additional tips for a successful school year. As Ms. Bowman mentioned earlier, for all of our students that are our most vulnerable population, with our early childhood students, pre-K, kindergarten, and any students requiring supervision, including our nonverbal students, it's important to make sure that identification cards with the bus information is attached to the student themselves or their book bag. Please also note for our pre-K and kindergarten students, the schools will be issuing neon colored vests so that they can be identified by the driver as well as by the school staff. All pre-K and kindergarten students are assigned to sit at the front of the bus for closer supervision. There should be a parent or guardian or family member or provider to accompany and receive students who require supervision to and from their bus stop location. Please be sure that when the bus comes to pick up, whether it is a community stop or a curb-to-curb stop, that students' names and destinations are confirmed at pickup and drop-off to make sure they're heading to the right destination. For those students who may reside in the non-transportation zone, it's important to incorporate travel training as we, again, want to promote inclusive skills for our students matriculating through the school year. So before school starts, please practice the route to and from school, identify any landmarks, using a map or electronic walking route. And it's always a best practice to practice scenarios on what to do in an emergency situation. If you need to make any changes in the pickup and drop off, you want to follow the process for requesting a bus schedule change. Again, it cannot be accepted directly at the Department of Transportation. All information has to be updated in Synergy by the school registrar. Addresses must follow the school boundary guidelines. Please note that changes can take up to 3 to 5 business days, and also consider that many families are still registering and changing schools, especially for the first couple of months of the school year. Updates are being made as soon as possible.
Next, we have our bus lot information. We have a list of 6 transportation supervisors that are responsible for managing our bus lots. For our students receiving specialized transportation, more times than not, their buses will begin with the letter, and that letter represents the bus lot that their buses will come out of. So you can also, again, access our transportation website if you needed further information, but just know that our students receiving that specialized transportation, their bus numbers will be preceded by the letter that represents the bus lot.
And on our next slide, we have our operations supervisor. So we have Mr. Tony Sproul, who's the senior transportation and central garage supervisor. And then we have operations supervisors, Mr. Hill, as well as Ms. Haynes. For transportation coordinators for the Department of Special Ed, as we were introduced earlier, again, my name is Alemnish Allen, and I work with students, last names A through L. And then Mr. Brian Makel, who works with students, last names M through C. And then, of course, our infamous Director of Transportation, Mr. Kiba Baldwin. We hope you all have a great school year.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tracy Jones. I'm the supervisor for the Office of School here, and I'd like to give you a few tidbits of what to expect for the new school year. The goal of this presentation is to identify the roles of for the Office of School Health. We're going to discuss our immunization needs. We're going to tell you a little bit about Hazel Telehealth, and then when to keep your child home. Next slide. So this is a picture of our hierarchy. We are under the Department of Student Services with Dr. Faison as the associate, Dr. Tisa as the director, and then it's myself as the supervisor. Under my office, I have 10 nurse managers, 2 specialists, hearing and vision techs. We have a nurse practitioner, as well as we were all of the school nurses, all of the private duty nurses, as well as a wellness coordinator. And we will also be hopefully opening school-based wellness centers. So if you ever have a area of concern and it's not being addressed with the school nurse, every school has a nurse manager that is assigned to them. If you are unable to get the issue resolved with them, then you are welcome to reach out to either the specialist or myself in order to get some resolution. Next slide. So the role of the Office of School Health, we provide nurses to all of the school buildings. As of today, I have filled all of my vacancies except for 2. And so there will be a registered nurse in every school. There are some schools that, based off of the medical acuity level, as well as the size of the school, there may be an RN and an LPN, but there will be at least an RN in every building. Part of what we do is we ensure that the nurses are competent in what they're doing in their nursing skills. So we provide that clinical oversight. One of the big things that we also do are nursing assessments. Our nursing assessments is what drives what we do for every child that comes to the school. Whether you need a private duty nurse, it's a nursing assessment. If you think that your child needs additional nursing services, we'll do a nursing assessment to determine that. We also do communicable disease monitoring. That is, last year we had measles, and so that was our office that was heading that up and making sure and notifying the individuals who were exposed. We work with the health department as it relates to that. We also did a lot of the flu follow-up. Whenever we have any type of outbreaks, we will follow up on that. We are doing record reviews for immunizations, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. But we're also doing record reviews because we want to make sure that we know what your child needs while at school. So it would be helpful if we have, updated health records for your child because we want to make sure that we are giving them the best care that they deserve while in school. That includes administering medications, any treatments or procedures that may be needed. We want to make sure that we are adhering to those. Our nurses also attend IEPs and 504 meetings. Federal law requires that a nurse be at the table. If our nurse is unable to attend, then our nurse managers will step in and assist. Maryland mandates that we do hearing and vision screenings on all students who are new to the district, as well as for IEPs and 504s, we have to do hearing and vision screenings. We also have to do 4th graders and then 9th graders, but we typically do it in the second semester of the 8th grade year. Our nurses are required to provide 8 healthy activities a year. We do not say from my office what they are. We want them to be based off of the school community, and we also want them to be based on the needs of the students. We work with transportation for those students who have medical conditions that need the bus drivers to be trained on how to manage their medical conditions, what to recognize. We do the bus trainings for that. Right now, we are holding immunization clinics at all of these locations. We're working with the health department as well as the county executive's office. We were having a clinic in every district on Mondays and Tuesdays. They are at the health department on Wednesdays and Thursdays. We go to various schools so that we can meet the mandate from the county exec of having an immunization clinic in every school. They are for individuals who are uninsured, underinsured, but we will see kids that have insurance. However, we do encourage them to go to their primary care provider. Next slide. This is the address for the Cheverly location. It's 3003 Hospital Drive. It's, like I said, on Mondays and Tuesdays now, but as of August 25th, it will be at the health department every day from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We do encourage appointments. However, we will accept some walk-ins. It's really important that your child is vaccinated based off of what Maryland state requires. This is not, you know, my office or Prince George's County Public Schools that is asking for or requiring the vaccines. It is actually a state law. If you opt not to have your child vaccinated, you would either have to sign a religious exemption or a medical exemption. With the religious exemption, there is a drawback, which is if there is an outbreak in the school, then your child will be excluded from school until the incubation period is over. For example, this year we had a student at one of the schools that had measles. And so there were a couple kids that had a religious exemption and they had to be out of school for 21 days because that is the incubation period for the religious exemption. It's really it's really important that the children are vaccinated based off of the Maryland law. For every child that is not vaccinated by September 30th, the school loses funding. They lose $18,000 per student that is non-compliant. And so this year we lost $25 million in funding because we had students who were non-compliant. When you start on the first day of school, you will have 20 days to provide evidence of the of your immunization record. On day 21, your child will be excluded from school. So for us, the exclusion date will be the 20 days is September 15th, and your child would be excluded as of the 16th. This is why we're holding so many clinics. We will be having clinics at the Cheverly from once school starts until September 30th, so that you will have plenty of opportunities to ensure that your child is vaccinated. We will be having some Saturday locations, as well as August 24th, we're actually having a Sunday, opportunity for you to obtain your vaccines. When you come to the clinic, we ask that you bring either your exclusion letter that the school provided or your medical records, your baby books, whatever you have, because we want to ensure that we're giving them what they need, that we're not over immunizing them or under immunizing them. So it's really important that you bring that documentation with you. The clinics are being held for students of Prince George's County Public Schools. So please make sure that you have started the process of registering so that we can ensure that we vaccinate your child. Next. One of the highlights for us is Hazel Telehealth with a signed consent form. If your child becomes ill while at school, we can begin a telehealth visit where they can see a provider right there while they're in school. It is free of charge to parents. The only thing that is needed is a consent form. Oftentimes, by allowing us to have the telehealth visit, we can give stock medications or over-the-counter medications. Maybe your child is having, a headache, and we have stock Tylenol. We have a telehealth visit. They can, the provider can order it, and then we can give your child that medication. That ensures that your child is able to stay in school. That prevents you from having to leave work to come pick up your child. And also, if your child is, ill, the telehealth providers will order antibiotics and send it to the pharmacy of your choice so that when you do get off from work, the prescription is ready to go. Now, we're not going to pay for the prescription. Your health insurance would have to pay for that, but we will make sure that there is a prescription sent to the pharmacy of your choice and it's filled so that your child can start the antibiotics that day. We often say that they need to be on medications for, 24 to 48 hours. And this service prevents you from also having to go to your own provider, making an appointment. We're trying to make sure that our kids are healthy and ready to learn and that they can come to school. And so we want to, if they are ill, to get that medication on board as soon as possible so that they can come back to school as soon as possible. So again, all we need is a signed consent form. The telehealth, Hazel, is in every school. There's a physical component as well as a mental health component. You sign the consent form one time and it's good for the entire tenure of your child's time within Prince George's County Public Schools. Next slide. So this is just a quick slide of when to keep your child home. If you know your child is ill, please keep your child home. We want to keep all children as healthy as possible. When children are sick, they can't learn. They're unable to retain the information. They're unable to stay focused. So we encourage everyone when their child is actually sick to keep their child home. Now, if you're unsure or if they get sick while they're home, we will reach out to you and ask you to either sign a consent form so we can see a provider, or we'll ask you to come and take your child home. These are some things that we identify of tidbits of when to keep your child home from school. Again, we want to keep your child healthy. We want everybody to keep their children home that are sick so they don't infect the other kids. So again, we want everybody to be healthy and ready to learn. Next slide. If you have any questions, this is my contact information. This is the main office. We are located in Temple Hills, Maryland. This is our telephone number, 301-749-4722. And this is my email address. I am easily accessible by email. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I want to just appreciate everybody who's on the call this evening, and on behalf of the Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee, or CCAC board, I want to say that we are looking very forward to working with the Department of Special Education, in particular, Trinell Bowman and her team, to advise on the unmet education needs of our students with disabilities in the county. We consider ourselves as partners, and we provide that advice after getting feedback from parents and caregivers and understanding what those unmet needs are. And that includes also recommendations that we put forth that might benefit our children. So we want to actively collect parental input and concerns from as many sources as possible. I've asked that the CCAC listserv be included in the chat if you are not on the listserv, so that you can get information about CCAC. I would encourage you to do so. Next slide. We have a very committed board, very excited about the CCAC board that we have in place, and they are ready to support our parents and caregivers and ready to drive change. Here are the topics for our CCAC meeting dates and areas of focus. Beginning in September, we will actually have the Parents Place of Maryland and focus on giving parents information about what they need to know in navigating the IEP process. Then in October, really helping parents to understand the Maryland State Department of Education final blueprint for students with disabilities. There's been a work group in place with some recommendations and understanding what those recommendations are, as well as Prince George's County response. We will in November, last year we had several town hall meetings. And so we will have our first town hall meeting in November. In December, we take that month off so that people can enjoy the holiday. In January, providing information about summer camp options for students with disabilities. We recognize it's important to understand where our children are going to be during the summer and to get that information early. Then in February, we'll be talking about turning your IEP data into action. In March, we're going to be focused on what parents need to know about transitioning to adulthood, their children transitioning to adulthood. In April, we'll be focusing on autism awareness. And then May, having another town hall meeting and ending our year with a focus on assistive technology. So those are our meeting dates and areas of focus. Here are the names of the representatives of your CCAC board. You may feel free to contact me or any of the members of the CCAC board. If you have issues you feel CCAC could be in service to you with, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We want to hear from you. So thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to work with you and looking forward to a very exciting and beneficial school year.
Thank you so much, Janie, for that update for CCAC. And now we're going to get ready to close out the presentation portion of the evening. The other thing I wanted to share with our families is that we do have a special education resolution contact list. You met several of those members, Dr. Jones, Director Baldwin, Alumnus Allen, that were here with us this evening. But we do have, based on the problem or concern, who do you contact, both email addresses and contact numbers. The other thing I want to share with you is every school has a special education instructional specialist. This year, we will have a team of 2 assigned to every school in our district. That's where you see the SEIS assignments. That is your special education instructional specialist. We have provided the school name, the contact person for that school, as well as their email address. The other link that we wanted to give you is your compliance specialist. So every school has a compliance specialist assigned to them. And we've given you that hyperlink as well so that you can see all of the compliance assessments, which is in assignments in tab 2, Marcy, with all of our schools that are listed and who are the specialists who you can reach out to. We also have early childhood contacts. So for infants and toddlers, preschool, we also included school boundaries, pupil accounting, school health, our instructional supports team, if you have questions about interventions, our central IEP team, our non-public supervisor, and on and so forth. So we just wanted to make sure that you had that central office resolution team that you can contact if you have any questions or concerns. And now what we're going to do is move into our question and answer session. It's around 7:38, so I'm so excited. We have about 22 minutes remaining for our Q&A session. If there is a question you have, Marcy will take you off mute We have been trying to respond to questions in the chat, but if there's a specific question that you have, you're welcome to come off mute, and then we'll also look into the chat to be able to, if we see kind of frequent questions that are asked by multiple people, be able to bring that up. If we cannot respond to a question tonight, we will capture that. We will continue to do a FAQ this year, and we'll be able to provide that information to you if we're not able to answer it this evening. All right, so I will pause and let Marcy see who has their hand up to ask a question.
All right, our first raised hand is Christina Aguilar. If you want to go ahead and unmute, you can ask your question.
Good afternoon. I really appreciate this session being held. I did put the question in the chat, but so if you get to it, I'm asking it now. My son already goes to a provider for OT and speech services, but I was told by that servicer that she was signed up, I guess, as a vendor through PGCPS, and she was just recently asked to renew because I guess she was saying you guys will be offering services through, I guess, third party individuals when students need speech and OT. If that's true, how would that work with the school system setup?
Yeah, so we do have many providers that are contracted through the school system. They're considered our vendor partners, where they're actually contracted. If we have vacancies or we need to provide additional services to students, we do what we call a request for proposal process, or an RFP, where we actually put out what our scope and services that are needed. And then we have partners or vendors bid on those services, and then we're able to offer them to our students. They have to undergo the same rigorous background checks as employees. They really become part of our team and part of our staff. So the expectations we have for employees are very similar to our contractors. They're given assignments and schedules and caseloads and work with individual students. And we've been providing contracted services as part of our service plan to students probably for the last 30 years. We've brought in contracted services, particularly in speech and language, as well as occupational therapy. So they just are an extension of our school district staff, and they help us bridge the gap where we may have vacancies or higher caseloads, and we're not able to meet those needs, and we're able to augment with bringing in contracted services to support us kind of fill that gap and then give us value added to ensure that our students continue to receive their services. We also contract with various partners and vendors to provide compensatory services for our students that may be after school or on the weekends or over holiday breaks. So that's another way that we may use our contracted vendors, but they do have to be approved through the district. We have to have a contract in place. They have to undergo background check. They also have to be licensed in the area of which they're providing services, and they have to be licensed by the Maryland State Health and Human Hygiene Agency, or the Maryland State Department of Education. So the same requirements we have for employees, we also have for contractors.
Okay, so they would just kind of only be pulled in if you guys had a shortcoming. It's not like you guys that have a list and then say we want to utilize those services or have our students work with them. It wouldn't be like that. It would just be based on if you guys saw fit for it.
So for our related service providers, yes, but we also have other partners. For example, we have mental health clinicians throughout the district. We have contracted social workers that we have determined that is definitely a need that we need to have in our district. So they're not supporting any vacancies. They're actually filling a gap need that we've identified. So we use them both to provide services, or if we have an initiative or approach that we feel like we need to bring in partners to help bridge the gap. So we have many partners that support. I see Rob Malone is on this evening. He's one of our partners that supports service coordination for infants and toddlers in our school district, and autism waiver. So we bring in partners and contractors for various reasons, not just to bridge the gap if we have vacancies, but to actually enhance the services that we're able to provide in our district.
Okay, because I was just wondering, because this will be my son's first time starting with school. He's doing pre-K 3. And, I've talked to other parents, other teachers and things, and they were saying sometimes there were, not enough to provide services and things like that. So that's why I was trying to look into what other options they were, just to make sure that, my child can have services while in school. And then, once he leaves, because, pre-K 3 is just half days. So I just wanted to make sure that would be covered. So
And I just
thank
want
you
to
so
highlight,
much.
as part of Dr. Joseph's 100-day plan, this is a emphasis and a priority for him as well, for special ed and multilingual learners, to be able to make sure that we have qualified personnel in front of our students every day. And we're working very aggressively with our Division of Human Resources to make sure that that happens, as well as other partners. So thank you for that question.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we have Sheena Moreland. Sheena, if you want to unmute and ask your question.
Good evening, everyone. I was just wondering, how do I get a hold of the list, the last slide that she showed before the Q&A session?
Yes, what Marcy can drop that in the chat so you have the link. We will be posting the PowerPoint so that you have access to all the links and all the resources, but she will put it in the chat now so that you have access to it right now.
All right, thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Marcy.
Yep, I believe I saw in the chat, Mr. Andres raised his hand in the chat. Yep, Mr. Paulino.
Yeah,
If
thank
wanna-
you.
Yep, go
And thank
ahead.
you. Thank you for allowing me for the question. I just have the question about security. You've seen many things on TV and stuff, and I was just curious and see what the county's kind of taking. Thank you for the link that you guys sent me in the chat. I did go to the link, but pretty much it said that the schools get some equipment, some security equipment, and also they mentioned about the transparent backpacks. But I was just curious and see when they mentioned those equipment, what kind of safety equipment were they referring to? Just a little more details about it and kind of get more transparency and see in concrete things what were the
Yeah.
things.
So the best way, and I'm not a security personnel expert, but this is the best way. And team, if anyone else wants to chime in, please feel free. The way that I would describe it is, again, at our high schools and selected middle schools, it's like when you go to the airport security, and you know how you're walking through and you're kind of scanned as you walk through, is really detecting for weapons, guns, etc. And so it's able to have a noise or a highlight that then alerts security if there's any weapons or guns on a particular student. And so all of our students going through our schools at the high schools and those selected middle school, that's the best way that I can describe it. It's like going through the airport and going through kind of that enhancement machine where you actually have to go through to make sure that there's no weapons on.
Oh, I see. Kind of like the same system like they had in New York when I was younger. Okay.
Yes, that's the best way to describe it. Yes. And then the
And that's
clear
only
book
for high
bag
school, right?
is for high schools and 12 selected middle schools as of right now.
Okay, so
And that's the latest update
no
on the
elementary,
website.
no
No
elementary
elementary.
schools. Okay,
No.
thank you.
And again, those middle schools were selected based on data that our security team and operations team analyzed over time and determined that that's where they would put those enhancements, those security enhancements.
I see. Well, thank you so much for answering my question.
All right, Ms. Bowman, I saw a question across the chat. I do see one more raised hand in the participants, but I want to go back to a question I saw across the chat. A lot of folks were a little confused at the statement that all IEP meetings required nurses to attend. Can you clarify that?
Yes. So, and I know Dr. Jones is still on, and Dr. Jones, I'll let you add to it. But typically, if a student has nursing services in their IEP, or if there's concerns related to their medical condition, we will have the nurse attend those IEP meetings, but it would not be for all students across the system. We also, again, as part of a student's IEP, if there's nursing services in their IEP or there is a concern related to their medical needs or medical conditions, we will bring a nurse into those IEP meetings. Dr. Jones, do you want to elaborate or bring any other points besides the
Yep.
two that I just made?
Nope, those are the two. And when we come in, we will do a nursing assessment. We may ask you for medical documentation to help support what goals we want to add to the IEP. Or we may ask you if we can talk to the provider to get additional information.
All right, thank you, Dr. Jones. So in the chat, and we have a hand up, Miss Janice Cornish.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome my special education and neurodiverse family. I wanted to say a question to the team. I realized I've been here in special education, neurodiversity. That's what I call it, because some of our kids are neurodiverse versus special education. PGCPS seems to, in my opinion, focus on my child is autistic, but he's not autistic 1. And PGCPS seems to focus a lot on autistic 1 students versus the autistic 2 and autistic 3 students who are in general population. So my question is, what is the team going to do that will help the autistic 2 and autistic 3 students who are in general population with their instruction so that their general population teachers can better serve them in their instruction throughout their academic career?
Yeah, so the way that I would answer that is we, of course, always look at the individualized student and what their needs may be and develop a plan around individual students. There's a lot of different strategies that we do implement in our district for students who have autism, both in our programs as well as students who may be in our general education classrooms. So we're really always thinking about, self-advocacy, self-regulation, self-efficacy for our students, and really thinking around that executive functioning piece of how our students are organizing themselves in their various environments and really working towards that. We do, as part of our strategic plan, this is definitely an area of focus that we are looking at in terms of how do we communicate those strategies? How do we look at the continuum of supports that students may need at the varying levels with neurodivergent as well as autism? So this is something that we definitely are working on as part of our strategic plan, to be able not only to communicate to families what we're doing, but to also train our school teams around those different strategies that we have to implement depending on the level. So for some students, they need visual schedules, they may need visual cues. Again, some students need support with organizing themselves. The great thing is once we move to the secondary level, we have what we call an academic resource class. And so we're really able to work specifically with those students with general ed students around what is those appropriate behavior, what is as we think about social pragmatic language that should be used and social cues, we're able to target that. And then in our elementary program, we always have those supports. We also have autism specialists throughout the district that do support with coaching, modeling, and technical assistance in our schools. And then we do have a series of trainings that we offer. But that is something that we definitely are focused on as part of our 2.0 strategic plan.
Okay, so Dr. Bowman, I think I may have worded my question correctly. All of that is happening for my student and has been happening. I think I meant it from the general educator's perspective, in the sense of my student has been doing all of that, but yet he runs into teachers who look at him because he doesn't show as someone who is autistic and gets the response of, oh, you can do it, you're fine, you don't have these issues, which is why we end up in situations where he fails the course and then has to have me come in and have a whole meeting with him and his administration, which the administration's on his side and the teacher is giving administration back talk. So what are we doing with the teachers, not the administration, but the teachers.
Yes, and so that's something that we're continuing to focus on as part of our 2.0 strategic plan to include those general educators, those creative art teachers, those CTE teachers, making sure that at the beginning of the year, our general ed teachers have IEP snapshots that really talks about the accommodations, the supplementary aids that students must have. That when we go into classrooms, we're seeing evidence of accommodations being provided. And so we are definitely focusing on that collaborative planning aspect between the general educator and special educator. We're also looking at those inclusive opportunities. And so I think a greater emphasis with the general educator, as well as those creative
How do they
arts,
behave?
as well as our specialty
Right?
programs. And so we've been having those meetings with our curriculum and instruction partners to really think about specially designed instruction. What does it look like for general ed teachers? How do they provide that support? How do they scaffold? How do they provide those strategies? So we are providing training and even looking at that coaching, modeling, and feedback for those specific schools. And so that is part of our focus this year, is on that collaborative planning aspect between the general educator and special educator, and then the expectation that at the beginning of the year that our special educators are meeting with our general educators to go through the needs of our students, what their accommodations are, what their supplementary aids, and that we're also looking for that evidence as part of our accountability with our school teams. So that is something that we do have included in our accountability checklist for administrators to ensure that those things are happening. So thank you for that question.
And thank you, Dr. Lerman. Thank you.
Okay, we have a couple more folks in that have hands raised. Angela Hairston Teray, if you could unmute, please, and ask your question.
Audio now unmuted.
Yes, good evening, everyone. How are you this evening?
Hello. You will need to contact your school registrar to make changes. Alamnesh Allen to everyone.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Yes, I was wondering, how do you get your student an IEP?
The host has stopped broadcasting the meeting on.
My children are international, so they came into the school system in
The host has stopped broadcasting the meeting
mid-March.
on.
And as you know, school is out in June. The report cards that came home, A's and B's, wonderful. But my children are
The
not
host has stopped
readers.
broadcasting the meeting on.
They're just learning the language. So what I was concerned about is they've been passed along to the next grade, you know, this coming school session. So what do I do about that?
So what we would like you to do for your specific case, we can put in the chat a form for you to complete so that we
Okay,
can
thanks.
connect
I will
you
contact
with the
tomorrow.
school.
William Cornejo to everyone.
If you suspect that your child has a disability, we are obligated to convene an IEP meeting and have that conversation and discussion. Do we need to assess? Do you have outside assessment? So we can walk you through that process. I'm going to ask Marcy or the team, or one of our team members, to actually put the Google form in. If you can complete that, then we can connect and follow
My
up
son is
with
currently
our Family
receiving
Support
speech
Center
therapy.
staff
Needs occupational
and the
therapy.
appropriate school.
How can the school help me get the therapy? Grecia Campusino IR. The host has stopped broadcasting the meeting on.
So just fill out this form. Do I wait for?
Yeah, we're gonna get in contact with you to discuss the next steps. And then the other thing that I'm gonna give you is the link to the actual family support toolkit that gives you more information about what do you do if you suspect that your child has a disability and what the process is that we follow in Prince George's County. It's called the Child Find Process, but so that we can make sure that we connect you right away with the school. If you could fill out that form so that we have your children's name and any information you think is important to share. And then our Family Support Center staff will connect you and the school together so that you can go through that process.
Okay, now that I do not
https://forms.play/larry9zgtcp/zj50 https://www.pgcps.org/www.pgcps.org/globalacid/offices the leave.
The reason why I connected with this form is because I was thinking that because they speak another language, you know,
Is the school providing
the
speech
educational
pathology
reach
along with the
is
IEP
not
program?
going to be
Daisy
as great
Gonzalez, the host has. May
as
I
if
also
they
have the
did.
form, please? Belinda Queen to everyone.
and that they are being passed along in school.
Yeah, so we do. Yeah, so we do have an office that provides interpreters
The
for
host has
many
stopped
languages
broadcasting the meeting
for our
on.
families. And so that is support that we can
Broadcasting the
provide a
meeting on.
family if English, if they need an interpreter for a language, of course, other than English. So we can provide that support for that family. And if there's a if you have a family that you have in mind, you can also complete that form. And if you have their contact information, we can also reach out directly to them. If you want to include any information about the language that they speak, etc. We do, I don't know if it's Spanish, but we do have a bilingual parent liaison in our family support center who does speak Spanish. If it's a language other than Spanish, we can connect with our translation and interpretation office to be able to provide that support. And I think we have time for one more question, Marcy.
Okay, the next in line was Elizabeth Edwards. And if you did not get to your question, please know that we will follow up. You can put your question in the chat. We're going to issue a frequently asked questions from this session. We're just running out of time, unfortunately. So Miss Edwards will take your last question.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate the time today. I'm listening here, and I feel like there are several of my issues that I noticed that were related to questions. I guess the most relevant question is just really trying to understand how to know what schools are able to provide the right level of services or even have the right resources to provide the services. Because currently, the school that I was at was understaffed in the special education department. There's not really, I guess, is there a way to know if the resources are being provided at a school, or even like just knowing if I transfer her from a specialty school that we were at to the zone school, how do I know that that school even has the resources that I need to support? The issue about the general education teachers, I've met with them several times. We've gone over her IEP in length. In multiple meetings. The quarterly meetings were not being, the updates weren't happening. The teachers, I don't know if they even understood how to even tailor the curriculum based on the needs that she's having. So we just had a really frustrating year. I just don't want to have a repeat. I hear you guys saying that we're investing in this, but I guess I really just want to understand, what does that look like for us? Is it an issue where we just can't find qualified staff, or is it that we just don't have the budget? Like, I guess I'm just trying to really understand, like, going into this year, and then the staff list online, how accurate is that? Like, I see some schools have like 14 and some schools don't even have their staff lists posted. So I guess that's kind of where I'm coming from, a place of frustration. So if I could just be better equipped on understanding how to find out this information, that would be super helpful.
So one thing I will share with you that Dr. Joseph has committed to is providing real-time data to families for schools that have report card information that would be updated quarterly around academic progress and how the school is doing with various data metrics. So that is a commitment that he has made to our families to be able to do that this year. He's also made a commitment to be able to be transparent around our vacancies and to be able to post vacancy dashboards at the district level and by school. The other thing that I would say to you is, for us, budget is not, it's a secondary factor. The first factor for us is making sure that students have what they need. And I can just tell you that we have an interim superintendent, our Board of Education members, our county council, as well as our chief financial officer. We do financial review each year in the Department of Special Education. And financial review means that you've identified that there are additional services that students need in the district. And I can tell you, each year, as I've sat in a leadership role, when we have gone and we've requested additional funding for positions or to support what we need, we have always gotten that. So I don't want you to think it's a budget of, we have to consider the budget, but we also know that we have IEPs that dictate the services that we must provide to our students. And so we make sure that we do our best. Yes, we have been impacted by vacancies over the last several years, heading out of COVID, but we are working diligently with a sense of urgency to be able to staff our schools, to be able to look at those gaps and be able to support what students need. We do have a special ed staffing plan that we do have posted on our website, and we can put that in the chat real quick, that really provides you with how do we staff our special ed program. Sometimes there's a perception that we should have more staff at a school, but we really look at varying staffing models that we actually utilize to staff based on the needs of our students at a school. I did put the link in because I think it would be important. You mentioned that you had had several meetings. You've had several conversations at the school. We just want to be able to kind of track that down with our area office and have some follow-up discussions. If you could complete the form, and then we can follow up with both our Family Support Center, our K-12 supervisors who oversee the program pieces of our special ed programs out in our comprehensive elementary, middle, high schools, early childhood centers. And then we can also connect with our area office if there's some concerns just around follow-up or concerns that you have at the school level. We can do that follow-up as a partner team. So if you could please complete that form, and then we can follow up. So I would like to thank all of you for coming out this evening. Thank you for your questions. Again, we will take the questions that are in the chat and that were asked tonight and distribute a actual frequently asked question. We'll do that again this year as a result of this meeting. Thank you again for your commitment to Prince George's County Public Schools. Thank you, families, for partnering with us as we continue to strive for improvements in special education. We know that we have a committed interim superintendent and a committed Board of Education that will continue to support and make sure that we are given the best to our students with disabilities. So thank you so much for coming out this evening. Have a fantastic school year. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much.